Course 1, Introducing 21CLD. Lesson 2, Are our learning environments suitable for living and working in the 21st century? If how we live our day-to-day lives and our workplaces are changing in this globally connected world, do we need to ask ourselves, are our learning environments suitable for living and working in the 21st century? Will the industrial model of schooling develop the necessary skills our students require? Many claim that in order to meet the challenges of a complex, connected world, 21st century learning environments should be predominantly inquiry-based, where students and teachers make decisions about how they and others will spend their time in class. In such inquiry-based learning environments, students are actively involved in the learning process. Educators and students construct knowledge by drawing on their experiences with or without the guidance and support of others. Many of you will identify with the characteristics of an educator that McGinn outlines in her paper entitled Senior High School Education in the 21st Century. In this paper, McGinn describes 21st century learning environments as teaching and learning communities where students are actively engaged in learning with educators. In such learning and teaching communities, the educator creates an environment that guides and supports self-directed learning, enables effective relationships between students and their teachers, and also supports differentiated instruction that includes distributed learning, cross-curriculum links, diverse instructional groupings, and diverse broad-based assessment. In addition, they use professional development for site-based research and for opportunities for on-site application, discussion, research, and reflective practice to build knowledge throughout the school. They also integrate feedback from students, parents, and other stakeholders, as well as evaluate and analyse change over time. So, to sum up, 21st century learning environments are predominantly learner-centred, with educators being attentive to students' knowledge, skills, attitudes and beliefs. Students are encouraged to ask questions and engage in social discourse, and find out their own answers, as well as asking and constructing their own questions. In such settings, the educator's role changes to that of co-constructor of knowledge rather than transmitter of content. The role of educators changes in this new paradigm. They are no longer viewed as a fountain of knowledge, breaking knowledge up into bite-sized chunks and transmitting it to their students. Their new role is more demanding and more complex. According to McGinn, educators in this paradigm need to be knowledgeable about how students learn and understand available resources, including ICT. They also need to adopt a collaborative approach that embraces change and flexibility of methodology. In addition, they need to develop productive relationships with students that support their engagement with learning. And finally, they need to practice differentiated instruction that encompasses distributed learning, diverse evaluation and diverse groupings. Teaching in the 21st century requires committed professionals who are constantly updating their own knowledge and skills and applying these in their everyday classrooms. The notion of the educator as a learner is at the heart of learning in the 21st century. They are, in essence, learning professionals. We need to acknowledge that change is constant. Whether it is the introduction of new technologies, new learning theories, or assessment techniques, introducing these changes into our classrooms and ultimately embedding them into our practice is very often not easy, and it takes time and effort on the part of the educator. But we need to embrace these changes, as the world does not stand still. A student's world can be very different to a teacher's world. Students are members of a generation that have grown up with the internet and an ever-expanding range of communication and collaboration tools. They expect to be always connected and communicate with each other in a myriad of different ways. For many, there is a growing disconnect between their lives and the world of school, a chasm which will need to be bridged before school becomes irrelevant and unconnected to the lives of many students. We need to understand these students who have grown up in this digitally connected world. We need to be able to articulate the attitudes and dispositions that characterise these students in order to design learning environments that will help nurture the particular skills they will require to live and work effectively in their futures. In her paper, McGinn outlines a number of characteristic traits she believes will develop if students are immersed in learning environments that are more appropriate for the needs of the globally connected world in the 21st century. She believes students will experience joy, satisfaction and passion for academic excellence and lifelong learning and be actively engaged in learning both in and out of school. They will also accept ownership of their learning, which involves the ability to be self-directive, decision makers and managers of priorities in and out of school. They will also use technology to achieve personal learning goals and to succeed in various learning activities. In addition, they will learn multiple languages and develop an appreciation for cultural patterns and expectations. They will also have the ability to access learning opportunities that involve multiple modalities. So how do we empower and support educators to design learning environments so that students can develop the skills required for the 21st century? Indeed, what are these 21st century skills? In this lesson, we examined whether our learning environments are suitable for living and working in the 21st century. In the next lesson, we will examine these 21st century skills in more detail.